I was on a losing streak at the beginning of this year. I lost a little bit over 6 figures. So I decided to take things serious. And I locked myself in a room until I made a little bit over $1 million. This is exactly how it went down. So to start off, how did I lose multiple 6 figures in the markets? Well, I decided to have a bright idea to send free signals, not only by myself, but to join with one of my really good friends, Sensei, and us create a free community where we're going to be giving out free signals every single day. I give swing/day trades and he gives scalp trades. We're both profitable traders. We both have a great track record. It's a great idea for us to combine and give free signals. Now, the problem that ended up happening is that Sensei and I never saw eye to eye. So we decided to basically part ways, and I decided to continue the legacy going of the free signals and the free trades. So I decided to send every single one of my trades in my Telegram and host a live stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where I shared every single one of these trades and broke them down in detail until I made $1 million. I was not going to let the losing streak, despite the pressure and despite the association with Sensei, get to me at all. I know my profitability, I know my strategy, and I know my trading plan works. And I'm gonna keep that going. So that's exactly what I did. Did a new signal group with all of my community members completely for free, and these live stream, I broke down every single trade to the T. And there I realized 2 very key important factors. One, even though I'm a great trader, I'm a great trader by myself in my room in my office. The moment that I have to send out a trade and I see 150,000 people copying this exact same trade, and I get tens of thousands of DMs every single day, and people giving me their own comments on the trade that I'm sending, oh, you're doing it right, or you're doing it wrong, or this added pressure was something that I did not account for before we decided to come together with Sensei and I. So that pressure combined didn't help. And 2, a perfect coincidental timing to go against us is Trump had come right into the markets right at the beginning of the year, and we didn't really realize the impact he was going to have, because we've been killing the markets for the last 4 years trading in the Biden markets. Biden markets were very slow, very predictable, because he wasn't really doing anything, honestly. And that was very easy to trade then. Trump comes into the markets, and the markets take a complete turn of events all across the board. And we weren't ready for that as traders, especially as signal providers, because we're used to certain type of markets. And as soon as we're about to send these signals, we get a completely different type of market. So our strategies hadn't adapted to that massive shift in the market. So to summarize my negative start to the year with this losing streak, it basically comes down to the major shift into the markets of Trump coming in and shifting the markets completely. And that caught us by surprise. Sensei and I not seeing eye to eye. I had to pick up for his slack. He basically didn't really want to do it. And then you add on top of that the pressure of having over 100,000 people watching every single one of your trades. It got to us. And I decided that I didn't want to keep having to carry for Sensei's weight. So that's where I decided to lock myself in a room and share every single one of my trades and host a live stream 3 times a week until I made over $1 million. And I fucking did it. Now, obviously, making $1 million might seem challenging, but it's really not if you don't have a plan. And I made a very strategic plan before I got into it, because I wanted to actually not only execute, but succeed in it. And I learned from the lessons that I did when I was partnered up with Sensei previously. So to make these $1 million, I first have to have a very powerful risk management strategy. So every single time I'm gonna take a trade, I'm gonna risk anywhere from $200 to around $300,000. And I'm gonna target anywhere from $400 to $600,000, meaning my risk to reward is a 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Now, it makes no difference if I'm risking $20,000, $2,000 or $200,000. The risk to reward remains the same. If I risk $2,000, it's to gain $4,000. If I risk $3,000, it's to gain $6,000. It's the exact same risk management on dollar amount, but just on a lot higher dollar amount. And this is something that I've been applying for the last 7 years, that I'm sure every single one of you guys apply when you go past a challenge or you go trade on your personal account. You have to have risk manager. Mine just happens to be on a very high dollar amount, or at least it's high to me. And another thing is, a lot of you guys are curious is how much did I actually have in my trading account on this challenge that I'm doing. And I didn't disclose of it because you guys should not be focusing on how much money I have in my account. You should be focusing on the trades that I'm literally predicting day after day on these live streams. A lot of people were curious, but how much money did you start with? Or why are you hiding your account balance? Well, because I don't have to show it. I don't have to tell you guys how much on my account. It's like me showing you how much I have in my bank account. Like, it's not necessary. And I feel like I kind of spoiled a lot of people because at the beginning of the year, I did show a $2 million account, which respectfully is not my biggest account. And I decided to just keep that to myself because some people believe that it's not realistic, even though I'm showing it's a live account. I'd rather just show you guys that I'm predicting the trades, how I enter, how I go into draw them, and then how I go into profit. I don't really have to show you guys the account size. It's irrelevant to the trade. It's irrelevant to you. Focus on your trade. Don't focus on my money. How deep my pockets go aren't gonna make any difference on if the trade's gonna go to stop loss or take profit. Just focus on the trade. And to focus on my trades, let's go right into the first one, which actually happened to be a break-even trade, which actually was a trade that was in profit $415,000.
Obviously, if I were to expect for this, I would have closed at $400,000 of profit. But since I did not, I decided to continue to hold, and it came back and took me out at break even. Does it suck? Yes.
GBPCHF was a major counter trend trade. This is a trade that I would normally never take, and I explained this multiple times in the live streams inside of my Telegram, on Instagram, and I explained why. That the market is bearish. The weekly is bearish, daily is bearish, 4 hours bearish. We should not be buying a market that is overall bearish. It actually goes completely against my strategy. But what my strategy does go for is when patterns repeat themselves. There was a major pattern that this market was about to create, and it created it to the T. That is a reversal pattern. The market was at the lowest point that it has ever been. It's been at the lowest point, and every single time it gets there, it has a major retracement to the upside.
This would be the trade that, if you're going to take against the trend, is the one that makes the most amount of sense. We're at the lowest point we've ever been in history. We could go to a different server if you want. Like, we go to we're going to go to GBPCHF on fxalexg, which they have more history.
It created the same double bearish weekly approach, one weekly bullish consolidation candlestick, and the following one should be a bullish engulfing to have the retracement. And did that 4 times in the past. I pointed it out multiple different times, and this should be the next time. There's no reason why it shouldn't, and there's no reason why it should go lower because it's never gone lower. I'm anticipating for a bounce up basically from this support level. It was real, my only confluence in the pattern that it has done it in the past. We enter the trade after a beautiful morning star formation, posted everywhere. Everybody enters the trade alongside with us, and I have a take profit set on a minor 4-hour take profit zone. The trade gets to my 1 to 2 risk to reward. So I risked $200,000 in the trade. I'm up $400,000 because I'm at a 1 to 2. And as I'm looking at the trade, I'm like, this has the potential to actually make it to a 1 to 4 risk to reward because it has a lot more to have a retracement. But not gonna lie, I got a little bit blinded because it was the first trade that I sent out for free. With the live stream, everybody was winning, and I want people to win more without having to add more risk. You could have gotten another 2 risk to reward on top of this trade without adding another position. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm all for free money without having to risk any more money. What's the worst that can happen? Takes me out of break even? Okay, that's perfect with me. And that's exactly what it did.
We hit the 1 to 2 risk to reward. You guys already know I decided to add more profits to this without adding any extra risk. And we obviously came back, took me out of break even. I am not the type of person to go break even ever for a situation just like this. Because if this trade did not present to me the exact same entry signal that it did at this point right here, I would have not entered this trade at this area right here. I would have literally just missed, quote unquote, missed out on the trade.
Price came back, took me out of break even, and the most ironic part is that the break even was actually in profit $10,000. I always put a little bit above my entry just to cover swap fees, commissions, spread, everything, just so I can have a little bit of just actual break even or even a little bit of profit. And I got a DM from a couple of people, and it's like, bro, I can't believe that you're calling a $10,000 profit a break even day. That's what I want to make a month. And I reflected for a second, and I'm like, damn. I remember when I started trading, I wanted to make $10,000 a month and then maybe scale to $50,000 a month and then $100,000 a month. And now for me, $10,000 is a break-even trade, it was just almost like a full circle moment where I kind of realized, oh shit, I think I made it. And what got me to this point is following my trading plan. I did not care that I was up $400,000 and then the trade took me back at break even. That was part of my trading plan. And sticking to the trading plan won me my next trade back on GBPCHF. The most ironic part about this is that I said it on the live stream. If GBPCHF comes back for whatever reason, takes me out at break even, and I get the exact same entry signal, I'm gonna take the exact same trade again. I literally copy pasted risk to reward. The entry was different by about 7 pips, stop loss different by 7 pips, take profit exactly the same. And guess what I did? I did the exact same thing. Stuck to my trading plan and I took the trade, and the trade went right back straight into profit. Both of these trades had 0 drawdown and went straight into profit. And when this trade was at $400,000 in profit, I was going to make the exact same decision. You know what? I see this trade to have potential to make it to a 1-to-4, where then I could obviously double my profit without having to add any risk. But there was one factor that was very different, and that is that we were approaching the weekend. So it was already going into Friday, and I decided, you know what? I don't want to hold this position. I want to end off the week profitable. Let's close out this trade right here. So I closed out the first trade for a little bit over $400,000 in profit, and it was the exact same trade that I had just taken.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have officially closed a winning, well, I have officially closed a winning position. Technically, right now, we're only up about 200,000 because I lost 200,000 the first week, made 400 this week. That leaves us in profit 200.
So I kind of got a little bit emotional, and this has obviously happened over the course of the weekend as I'm talking to my community members, whereas I could have closed the first trade for $400,000 in profit, and I could have closed the second trade for $400,000 in profit, meaning on the first week, I'd be 80% of the goal. And looking back at it like that, it sucked a little bit because I could have finished a lot faster. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And if that's what I meant to do by sticking to my plan, so be it. And the irony of this GBPCHF trade is on Monday when it reopened, price came back, would have taken me out at break even, and then it would have flown straight to the final take profit that I have been wanting to hold the whole entire time for a 1-to-4 risk to reward. So if I decided to hold and put my position at break even, would have taken me out at break even, and I would have probably not entered again because it did not give me the exact same entry signal how I wanted to, but the overall direction and the prediction of the analysis was to the T. It decided just to take longer than it should have. So after I realized that I could have been 80% of the goal there, and I'm actually only 40% of the goal there by just taking 2 trades, first trade being break even, second trade closing at $400,000 in profit. The third trade, I'm kind of a little bit aggressive, I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready to basically eat the market and take the first opportunity that presents itself. And doing that, it bit me in the ass, and I lost. I lost our third trade on Euro AUD.
Euro AUD. So this is bullshit, bro. This is so fucking annoying.
Euro AUD was a very similar trade to GBPCHF in terms of risk. It was a higher end risk trade as well, simply because we were trading against the trends. Now, I don't happen to do this all the time, but when the opportunity is there and it makes sense, it simply makes sense. Euro AUD weekly time frame was bullish, daily time frame was bullish, but the 4-hour time frame was bearish. For me to take a trade according to my strategy, I need a minimum of 2 consecutive time frames in sync, and I trade with that direction. Technically, if the weekly and the daily are bullish, I should be looking for buys. But the weekly was at a higher high, the daily was at a higher high. The price needs a retracement. If Bitcoin is at $100,000, I'm not gonna buy a Bitcoin at $100,000. You're gonna wait for it to come back a little bit and then buy. That's the exact same thing happened with Euro AUD. It was at a very high point, and I'm expecting for this retracement. And I decided to take it a little bit early because I did not wait for as much daily accumulation as I would have wanted to. And Euro AUD basically went straight to my stop loss, went above it by about 10 pips, and then went straight to my take profit. Now, does that suck? Yes, because I don't ever want to lose a trade, and especially in front of everybody while I'm showing this on a live stream and sharing it and everybody copying it. But it was a lesson for me just because I won a trade, and even though I missed out on more profits than I should have, I shouldn't be obviously super aggressive to take the next one. And if I'm gonna have a trade be a counter trend trade, have the most amount of confirmations that I possibly have. And these are things that obviously I know, I've been trading for the market forever, but sometimes I need this quick humbling moments and have people see me make this mistake in front of them and me almost be kind of humiliated by it and not want to make that mistake in front of people again. So they held me accountable for it. And this loss was a little bit over $150,000. So it set us back to about $300,000, $280,000 on the account. And after it takes me out by about 10 pips, it literally goes straight to the take profit where I would have made other $400,000, meaning I could have been at that very moment in profit $800,000. And if I would have closed every single trade in profit, I would have been up $1.3 million. So like all this is going through my mind. And the crazy part about it is that everybody's seeing it on the live streams.
Beauty of this is you guys are literally going to know exactly the type of trade that I'm going to be looking to enter, why I'm looking to enter, where I'm looking to enter, my stop loss, take profit, the reasoning behind it. And you guys are going to see it live every other day of the week. You guys are going to get the start of the week on Monday, essentially, and then update middle of the week, and then recap at the end of the week on Friday. It fucking doesn't get any better.
Your boy, I literally been able to tell and do their own calculations on how much I would be up if I didn't get wicked out by 10 pips and if I didn't get stopped out at break even. Trust me, it's not a good look. So at this point in the challenge, I basically have had every single scenario happen. I've had a break even, I've had a win, and I've had a wick out loss. Well, technically I haven't had a full loss, which I don't mind those. I hate the wick outs, but it's okay. But nothing like the next trade, which is AUD CAD, which was probably the craziest swing I've had in a very long time. This trade was a perfect, beautiful analysis.
Right now where we are is literally at this candlestick right here. We're waiting for this candlestick to be made. We already have the pull up, the doji. Now we're expecting for this right here. So we have to wait for that wick to be created. That wick is what's going to save us from taking a loss or not. And if we manage to hold through it long enough and not get caught on that wick out of the move, I believe we're going to have a very, very, very high risk to reward paying trade.
AUD CAD was at a very strong daily level of support. It was being used as resistance. The weekly is bearish, daily is bearish. 4 hour had been accumulating there for nearly 2 weeks, meaning that we have clearly rejected this very strong level of support being used as resistance. I have my 2 consecutive time frames in sync. I have my strong area of interest. I have my entry signal, everything I look for in a trade. Price gives me my entry signal. I enter the trade, go into a little bit of drawdown, but then we start going into profit. Everything is good. I'm $100,000 in profit, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. Here, I'm very excited, posting on Instagram. We fucking made it. We're almost there. Then we are about $500,000 in profit, $550,000 in profit, $600,000 in profit. So I think I was shy at that point around $80,000, $90,000 to close out the trade and complete it. And I'm looking at my DMs, everybody's saying, close, 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 close. I'm like, guys, why would I close? I'm only $80,000 away. I'm gonna continue to set and forget until it hits how much. I think I needed about $680,000, $690,000 in order for me to close at $1 million in profit, because I'm only in profit at that point about $300,000 because I took that loss on Euro AUD. And I decided to go break my fast, hit the gym. When I go back and look at my phone, I was around $200,000 in profit. Price had completely reversed and never made it to my take profit point. I was shy by $80,000. Everybody's seeing this and they're telling me to close, and I'm sticking to my plan. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna close. I'm gonna stick to my plan. Price goes back, $200,000 in profit, $100,000 in profit, break even, negative $50,000, negative $100,000. And this is by London session. So throughout the course of the whole entire day, I see my profits disappear into negative.
So I'm not mad that the trade didn't have the move because I don't anticipate the move. I'm mad that I didn't, kind of react to that. I feel like I could have been a little bit more conservative with my take profit. I could have literally put my take profit to maybe even this structure point right here. And that's still a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward, but I'm chasing the money so bad, and I'm chasing that monetary goal
I'm not making logical trades. And that's the like I'm doing a mistake that rookie traders do. I'm doing a mistake that traders that are not profitable yet do, because they continue to chase the money and not close the trade for what the trade is. And that's what I should have done here. I should have closed the trade. I'm at 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5 for what it is. And realizing that the higher time frames, yes, they are destined to continue going to the downside, but it's probably not going to happen this week. Should happen sometime next week.
And a lot of people ask, why didn't you go break even? Well, because the daily time frame hadn't closed. I like to wait for the daily time frame to close to see if I go break even or not, because based off of where I can potentially project if it's going to have a wick retracement, that's where I put my break even. It's very technical stuff. I talk about it in the live stream, so you guys should definitely check it out. But I decided to not go break even and just to continue to hold the trade because I accepted the risk. And the trade goes into drawdown a little bit over $120,000. Now imagine that feeling that you're $80,000 away from the goal and then you go into negative $120,000. How do you feel? How do you then go on another live stream the next day and say, guys, set and forget, continue to do this? Well, I did it. And that is by sticking to my plan. And guess what?
And AUD CAD, I mean, I think all of the market right now is looking at AUD CAD and seeing what is about to happen. So
sticking to my plan, made the trade, go back into profit, $100,000, $200, $300, $400, all the way back into $550,000. When the trade is back in that profit, I said, okay, boom, we're done. Closing right here because it was at my 1 to 2 risk to reward. Anything below that, I considered that I was going to be greedy and I'm just chasing the money at this point. I'm doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for the trade. This is something that I'm going to talk about towards the end of this and is very important and is my biggest takeaway from this whole entire thing. But more of the story with AUD CAD, we were almost there, went back into drawdown, and then we went back into profit and we closed in profit for a 1 to 2 risk to reward for a beautiful $500,000 trade. Now at this point, I'm probably in profit about $700,000 roughly, and I need about $300,000 left in order to complete the challenge. Now at this point in the challenge, I'm probably about 4 weeks in, almost 12 live streams in, and probably about 10 missed trades in. So I personally executed 4 trades at this very moment, but I missed a little bit over 10 different trades that I sent out simply because of time zones, simply because of trading paralysis, because all the pressure, people watching me. I didn't really want to take the ultra high risk trades or some other trades that just overthought about it, and I just decided to only stick to the least amount of trades that I possibly can with the higher probability. But at this point, I've predicted nearly 8 to 9 different moves, and obviously others were losses that I didn't happen to take, but I also missed out on about 4 different wins. And now that we're on this last trade, the last winning trade that we're about to make money and complete the challenge, this is probably the most disappointing trade that I had. And that is, well, one, we took the exact same trade that I got stopped out on by 10 pips on your AUD earlier, and it went straight to my take profit. I took the exact same trade again because it came back into the area, it gave me the exact same entry signal, everything the exact same zone, stop loss, take profit, everything exact same. And I decided to not only execute it, but execute it on a little bit higher risk. Instead of risking the regular $200,000 that I was usually risking, I wanted to risk $300,000. I executed $300,000, and the trade basically goes into a little bit of drawdown, but then goes straight into take profit. Now, this trade is at a 1-to-1 risk to reward. And when this trade is at a 1-to-1 risk to reward, if I risk $300,000, I'm up $300,000. All I need is $300,000 to complete the challenge. Jordan Welch happens to be at my house where, doing a video for his community, and he doesn't believe that by basically 1 click away, I can close a position and make $300,000. And he asked if he could do it, and I said, sure, you can do it. But I basically am closing this trade just to complete the challenge.
I can make like $600-700K off the trade, but I don't want it. I just want to make the $1 million, post it on social media, and go on vacation, bro.
But as I'm looking at the chart, I see so much more downside potential from this move, where this one move can easily give me $1 million. Because if I risk $300,000 on this trade and my risk to reward is a 1 to 6, I'm nearly making 1.2 million off of one single trade. But you know what? At this moment, I'm chasing the money. I'm chasing the high of finishing the challenge, getting it done, showing people how legit I am and how transparent I am, sharing all these trade ideas, doing all these live streams. And Jordan Welch clicks the button. Boom. Closes all the trades.
I'm literally just gonna close every single trade right now.
Can I do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
Close all.
Yeah. Make sure you close this one.
No,
No, don't fuck up that one.
This one.
Yeah. It's a wrap. That's it.
That's $300,000 right there.
Look. All right, chilling. So look, we just closed at 1.091. So all the positions that we were just in right now, it closes it immediately. So we just made 300.
No way, bro. They're gonna be in the comments like that's not real money. That's some fake platform. That's some fake money.
It's literally real. Alex Gonzalez, LQH, live server, like everything is legit. Does not get more legit than this.
Nah, bro, that's actually insane.
I mean, but I've been in this position since 6 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
It's not like I just entered as we're walking through the door.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking crazy.
That would have been.
No. Like I've been in this position for almost like 5-6 hours.
Now, little did I know that it was probably a cool feeling for Jordan. At that very moment, I got butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, I just fucked up. Because I had just missed out on a $1.2 million trade. The rest of the week, I see that trade continuing to drop and drop and drop and drop without ever looking back. It never came back for re-entry. It never came back anywhere near Jordan closed it off, meaning I could have just literally done nothing for the next 2 days and it would have gone straight to $1.2 million in profit. And that sucked. But you know what? It felt good because I can show people how you can use a profitable strategy and make money from it. But I let this be a lesson to myself. So I don't chase the money. I trade to trade. I don't trade to make money. When I trade to make money, it's not following a plan, it's not organic, and I'm looking at the money, I'm not looking at the charts. Looking at the MetaTrader and looking at the money go up and down does not do anything for the chart. You looking at the chart will determine if the money is gonna go up or down. But the candlesticks reflect what's on the numbers. The numbers don't reflect the candlesticks. And as soon as I literally had this realization to myself, I said, you know what? I'm no longer gonna trade for the money. I'm gonna keep trading to trade when it makes sense. And fine, cost me $1 million because I could have just literally continued to set and forget, which is what I do all the time. But I decided to just close it out, complete the challenge, show people how transparent it is, how real it is. And if it had to cost me $1 million to show people, I guess it is what it is. But from this point forward, I'm gonna continue to trade and not trade for the money because it will end up being more expensive and you won't end up making any money. And you know, yes, Euro AUD gave me a little bit of PTSD, right? You know, it made me wanna tattoo set and forget on my forehead so I can continue to follow my plan how I should and not do it to show people because I'm gonna complete a challenge. There's this other trade, USD CAD. USD CAD was easily a $700,000 trade. That, and NZD-JPY was another $500,000 trade because they were so beautiful having all the trend in your favor. They had the beautiful, strong daily area of interest, 4-hour shift to structure, and entry signal at the wrong time for me.
Now, this bearish rejection candlestick happened beautifully engulfing this other candlestick right here. So this is a beautiful entry point. If you notice, this happened right before London session, right at 1 in the morning, 12 p.m. And this would have been a perfect point for you to enter this trade. Now, I did not enter it, and it's gonna sound pretty pathetic, but I was not really paying attention to the charts. Like, I was out on the road and I wasn't really paying attention to it. And then I just saw this bearish move. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna wait for a little bit more of a retracement. Came home and I just knocked out. And on all of these other retracements, I just didn't want to enter impulsively, and the trade pretty much just tanked.
So I personally, sometimes I always, try and wake up at London session as best as I could. I am human at the end of the day. Sometimes I just fall asleep. Sometimes I wake up. Sometimes I just wake up, don't see what I'm supposed to see. And I missed out on USD CAD because of a beautiful entry signal in London session where as soon as 3 in the morning came in, flew straight into take profit for a 1 to 4.5 risk to reward. That trade missed. NZD-JPY I didn't actually was able to enter that trade because I was over leveraged on the loss that I took on Euro AUD. So that was another trade that kind of gave me a little PTSD. Imagine predicting 3 trades and then you pick the wrong one. The one that just wicks you out by 10 pips, but then they all end up going to take profit and you didn't capitalize off of any of them. That ended up happening to me basically every single week with multiple different pairs. And that is normal in trading. You're not supposed to catch them all. Just because you have one fishing rod, you go out to the ocean and you see a bunch of fish, doesn't mean you're gonna catch all the fish. You can only fish one rod at a time, one cast at a time. And either you catch a big one or you catch a small one or your line breaks. It's gonna happen, it's part of the process. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. The best thing that you can do is be ready to bring it back up, put another bait and cast it out again. But if you wanna be that guy, that fisherman that has multiple different fishing poles out there, they're gonna get tangled. As you're reeling one in, the fish is pulling down the other one, break the rod, you lost that fish, you lost the rod. It's gonna cost you more money than just focusing at one fish at a time. And this took me a very long time to realize, and the fish aren't gonna go anywhere. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and there's always going to be a time to go out there and catch them. Same exact thing with the markets. There's plenty of markets to trade. They're always going to be there to give you opportunities, and you only take one trade at a time. The faster you realize that, and the quicker you take a trade for a trade, not to make money, the more money you will make 100%. Just make sure not to fall asleep, and make sure to set and forget. But don't set and forget too much. Now, even though this was a crazy journey for me and it was very stressful, I'm glad that thousands of people, tens of thousands of people capitalized off of this. You guys can go see it from yourself. There's literally tens of live streams of me showing every single trade, the before, the during, the after, explaining my strategy as I'm looking at this trade, why I'm interested, why I'm not interested, answering Q&As at the end, and just showing you guys how I personally look at these markets. And caught a lot of people by surprise because nobody knew that I did this constantly. And I do this every single week with my students, where I literally share the trades just how I did for people publicly for free. How I did in the live streams, I do this with my community every single week, and I share the trades and I answer the questions inside of the community. And that's truthfully why my members have crazy success numbers. They're making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week at a minimum by simply getting on these calls with me privately and seeing these trades for themselves and them following it alongside with me. If you guys want to know more about Set and Forget and how these students are doing stuff like this, click the link in the description below because there's a video that explains for you everything to the T perfectly. Because what I just did right now publicly, I do it every single week privately with my students. I just decided to take on the bigger challenge and show the masses of people what we're about inside of the Set and Forget community. So with that being said, make sure to hit the link in the description below so you guys can see what we're about. And make sure to hit that like and subscribe button because I don't know anybody else that's putting on a challenge like this and taking on all the stress how I did. And I'll do it again if I have to. With that being said, guys, thank you very much for seeing this video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one.